Signs of the Southland for Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. A rare Tuesday recording session for our fearsome twosome today of me, Akshay Easwaran, and Jack Purdy. Jack, it's NIT Tuesday. How are you feeling?
This is not a word or a stretch of words we thought we would say even 3 days ago. For the most part, a some sort of tournament appearance, I think, wasn't even anticipated for us until very, very recently, of any kind. Just once the ship got righted for this team, they got above 500. Um, Obviously, this game, like literally, my plan is we're going to record this episode. I'm going to walk to McCamish, go watch the game, and then this episode will have been out, I guess, during the game. So I don't think we need to talk too much about the actual projections and whatnot of what the specific game. But the ACC tournament was something that happened, and I was in Texas all last week and kind of missed it, but I was very much watching once I saw the score on my phone of what was it, 28-14 over Duke or something like that in the first half.
I want to say, like, collectively, Georgia Tech fans as a collective had that same reaction. You see 26 to 13 or 26 to 14 and like the tail end of the first half versus number one Duke, and you're just like, what is going on?
Right.
And
Yeah.
well, number one, your first thought is what is going on. Your second thought
Yes.
is,
Yes.
oh my, they're definitely going to blow this, which is what it was for me. And true to form, albeit we'll talk about what happened. 76 to 71 loss to Duke, and that was the ACC quarterfinals after a nice little win over 9 seed UVA to get there. Tech made this a game in the first half while
Hmm.
Duke could not make a three-point shot to save their lives,
Nope.
and then battled back after Duke started hitting threes and made this a game late. They were within six, the final margin. I mean, it might be 78-71, but that was the final score. I just wrote this from memory, actually. But they were within a couple possessions. They made this really close. They didn't just sort of go back into their shell and go away. I think
Right.
I'm usually the analytics guy, but like there's something about a team that has had to sort of scratch and claw and battle through an extremely short rotation for vast stretches of the season, just knowing how to be gritty in these kinds of moments and be better, like more than the sum of their parts. And that's something they were able to do in this game, which again is not a real sequence of words that I thought I would say at this point in
Right.
like early
Es-
December,
Right.
right?
Especially after we saw we played Duke super early this year because of that the weird ACC scheduling where you get a game or two on the front before the holidays, and that we looked terrible against them. Like we had nothing for that version
They
of
got
Duke at
doubled
all.
up, right? Tech got
So
doubled up.
I think they may have, yeah. I mean, I was there because I was like, oh, I guess I got to see Cooper Flag, and I was like, oh, yeah, this guy's different. Like, I get the point why he's going to be the number one pick. This makes perfect sense.
There is
And
on Flag actually, and to that point, Flag got injured late in the first half.
yes,
I didn't actually see the injury, but I heard that he got injured, and from my understanding, he didn't come out for the second half, and he didn't play the entire second half. So
no,
Duke did a lot of that. I mean, part of it is variance, right? At a certain point, you have to start hitting like three-point shots, just have to start
right,
falling.
yeah, yeah,
But Duke played a lot of that second half, well, the entire second half without Flag, and their I think it was number nine, whose name I can't remember. I'd have to scroll back up in my text where someone was really upset that he could not get stopped in the paint. Like he just went off and
yeah,
just had a really dominant performance in Flag's absence. But I think you could see there just like it took a lot for Tech to be in this game, but it's a credit to them to make it count, right?
yeah. No, yeah,
And try to take their kill shot.
they had the window to get a big lead, and they did it, which was massive. I think this is a big factor in the women's game against North Carolina State last week as well, or 2 weeks ago now, where they kind of had this early opening run. Where it's like, okay, they have a decent lead here, and they didn't necessarily their lead wasn't as big as the one that the guys got against Duke here. Um, but yeah, also like the top four guys for Duke when it comes to efficiency metrics and offensive rates and stuff like that, they're all just like in the top right corner of everything for the ACC. And so it's like you need some really good conditions. Like for a team as good as Tech, just being perfectly honest, like how good they are, what we have, a great night for us still requires Duke to really have some things not go their way. And we were most of the way there on a really great night, and Duke was all the way there on stuff not going their way. Like Cooper's just out. They had a Houston Rockets esque stretch of just missing threes. Um, and
They did
so
not make so I checked into this game at that 26-14 mark, right? They had not made a three. They were 0 for 12 from three at
yeah, it
that
was
point.
it was insane. And once they hit them, they just started going. Like
Yeah.
Duke is the kind of team where once they figure it out, you're kind of toast. So it's like it was fun. It very much it was fun while it lasted kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, you always knew there again, like your first two thoughts are what is going on and when is this going to be like when does the magic end?
Yeah.
Because that's just Georgia Tech men's basketball in a nutshell. Just covering the game tonight, which I mean, this episode is going to be out well after this game goes final, but or well, I guess we'll put it out immediately, but you'll listen to it well after this game and it goes final. First round of the NIT versus Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State 22 and 12, 12 and 6 in the CUSA. They were the 2 seed in the CUSA tournament and fell to the 1 seed Liberty 79 to 67 in the CUSA championship game. They are not particularly great at generating turnovers defensively. They are very good on the boards. They're very good at limiting fouls and keeping themselves out of foul trouble, but they also struggle immensely they struggle offensively in the paint, but are very good at defending it. So all of that is based on some very light analysis of Bartorvik percentile and rank stats. So maybe the game breaks that way. Maybe it won't. You'll find out well before I do, probably
We will.
well before this recording,
I
or
guess
well after this recording. So.
something that's more useful for now is I remember the first memory I have of watching Tech sports after I got accepted into Tech and it was the NIT run in 2017 in the winter of 2017. So this is a weird little full circle moment. Tonight going to the game will be a little nice little full circle moment where I'm like, oh, this is my first like memory of like I am a Yellow Jacket and here are the Yellow Jackets doing a thing that's somewhat impressive here.
Was
Uh,
that the start of the NIT run
I
where
think it was the
Indiana forfeited a home game, or was it the day that the interstate was on fire?
oh wow, I feel like
Because
the interstate no, that's around when the interstate would have been on fire. You're right. I feel like it was
so
not that day.
the NIT championship game day was interstate on fire, Sting break, there was a whole controversy there, and then I guess the NIT game. That was like there was too
Wow.
much going on
Maybe
that
it was.
day.
I mean, I remember watching the news when 85 was on fire too, so maybe it was the same day and I don't know.
I'm
Anyway,
fairly sure, I'm fairly certain it was the exact same day.
okay.
Because I remember watching it in
I'm sure
SB5. It's such
someone listening can tell us, I'm sure that in fact check this
crazy,
for us.
crazy.
Anyways, you played
But
Jacksonville State, who I have to keep reminding myself are not from Jacksonville, Florida. Uh,
Jacksonville, Alabama, of
yeah,
course,
that this is true.
because that's a thing that exists.
I think we have maybe already played them in softball this year. So this will not be the first time we have played this school in 2024-25 athletic calendar. And I did not know until
Um,
today they were in Conference USA. So
they're a recent FBS move up.
that makes sense. Yep.
So I mean, this is basketball, so FBS versus FCS doesn't matter, but that kind of colors and lines there. Just to get another dose of Torvik rankings, Tech is 90th now in the Torvik rankings, the last pre-Torvik rank or pre-tournament Torvik rankings, which again, super weird journey to get to where I think Tech would have liked to have been in that like top quartile
Right.
of Torvik teams, which is probably their best mark in a couple of years, honestly. But not in the way that they probably would have liked to do it.
No.
Jacksonville State 132 in Torvik. Tech is favored. If you go by the Torvik numbers, they're favored by 6.7 points. Projected or their win expectancy is 76% based on the Torvik metrics. You're looking at like a 74 to 76 or a 67 game. So keep that in mind. But obviously, by the time you listen to this, you'll probably know how this game went. So, grain of salt. grain of salt. You can send all of your complaints about this game to at Jake Grant 98 on Blue Sky, and I encourage you to do so. Jack, shall we talk about women's basketball and the
Yes.
full NCAA tournament? Georgia Tech is a 9 seed. They'll start their round of 64 journey, their NCAA tournament journey, versus number 8 seed Richmond. They will get the winner of UCLA and sacrifice to be named later, or a sacrifice that I did not bother looking up, in the round of 32 if they advance. UCLA is the 1 seed in that part of the bracket. Tech is 33 in the women's Torvik rankings. Richmond is 41. Um, just a quick hit on Richmond before I let you rip it here. 27-7, 17-1 in the Atlantic 10. They were the 1 seed in the A10 conference tournament, but lost 50-49 to St. Joe's in the semifinals. So I have a little bit more on team profile here, but you've been the one watching this team cover to cover this season. You've been watching Tech cover to cover this season. So I want to get your take on how this game will go before I talk a little bit more about Richmond.
Yeah, the thing is the we talked about this with Jake in the last couple episodes. We haven't had you sadly, but the trend line is not upwards for women's basketball right now in terms of just on court play and stuff like that. It's been a little bit it's got a little bit better at the end of the year here in the ACC tournament with very good win over Virginia Tech and a had a way to win over number 1 seed North Carolina State. So they're doing things that they know that they're good at. They have had back-to-back 99 game scores, which is really nice to have, and they hadn't done something that like that since basically the tail end of their of the 15 game win streak. Um, what I mean, they just need to play their normal style basketball and they should be fine. Like the fact they're a 9 seed is just does not represent how good the ceiling of this team at all. Like this is a very volleyball-esque kind of finish that they had where they just were just killing teams, and then faced the really hard part of the ACC schedule, and then whoop, it just got stupid freaking hard, and they just weren't able to get around it. They got around it better than before. I mean, they're at 22 wins, which 22 wins for this team before the NCAA tournament is absolutely fantastic in terms of all-time records for this team. Like this is without a doubt still one of the all-time seasons. They do need to get through this first game against Richmond though to kind of mirror that in the postseason. The fact we draw you, I mean, part of the downsides of this late season slide was that we were going to probably get shoved into a really unfortunate seeding situation. And this is that really unfortunate seeding situation where we face literally the number 1 team in the country if we win round 1. And UCLA is not losing round 1. So we did this to ourselves. We could play our way out of it. I mean, you don't know when Danny's going to shoot 8 threes or Russ Augustinante might hit like 5 threes or something like that. So like we have the weapons to win a game against anybody, and we have put up extremely good fights against top 10 teams all year long. So it's not out of the question. But yeah, the thing is we have to play better than the 9 seed that we were given because we're better than that. And the fact we're Richmond got the higher seed is kind of just that sucks. But here we are.
Yeah, a little bit more on Richmond, 86th overall strength of schedule. Again, putting together a small team profile based on the Torvik ratings. They are elite, like capital E elite at limiting opponent free throw opportunities. And on the other side of the ball, shooting yeah, from anywhere on the court. They're one in both of those categories, ranked first in both those categories in the nation. They're number 5 in the nation in 3-point rate, and generating on the offensive side. They're kind of in the middle of the pack in terms of defending it. They're fairly good at being physical in the paint, and in terms of blocking, they're right in that like upper quartile of teams in both of those.
Mhm.
In terms of what their losses have looked like, obviously they have 7 of them. Um, they've generally had high turnover numbers, and opponents have been able to shoot the lights out. So that is kind of the path to victory. And I think if Tech can play that sort of very quick transitional style that they were playing, the quick turnover transition style that they were playing earlier in the season, and then they can get those threes to fall, they have a very, very good chance. Um, I think the Bart Torvik numbers give Tech a 60% win expectancy here, a 2.6 point margin or spread
Mm.
up front, a projected final score of 69 to 66. So it's going to be tough, right? I
Yeah,
think
this is
this
not
is
a
a
guarantee. This
team
is not a guarantee.
this is a team that matches up. I think the styles make fights. I say this all the time, but like styles make fights. I don't think that the style here is different necessarily, but the puzzle pieces sort of fit,
Yep.
right? So if you can key on those, if you can recreate some of those early season games, like I said, and get those threes to fall again, I think you're looking at a very, very winnable game. It's just you have to go out and execute. The
Yep.
other thing I'll mention about Richmond, by the way, is at one point during the middle of December, they played Texas, Tennessee, and Alabama in the same week.
Yeah, that they
So,
did. They
and to that point of the 86th overall strength of schedule, they have only six teams on their schedule made the 2025 tournament. So the aforementioned three, I think George Washington was the fourth, and then there were two more somewhere on there, I think probably during the conference tournament. So yeah, that's kind of the way that things shake out.
Yep.
I mean, look, Torvik stuff is all opponent adjusted at a certain level. Um, so you can rely on a lot of these numbers. You can rely on a lot of these numbers. It's going to be a dogfight. I don't think there's any two ways about it. It's going to be a dogfight, and they just need to. It sounds very easy and cliche to say, but they just need to execute to win
Yeah.
this game. They need to
But
execute their traditional game plan, what got them to 15 wins in a row, and that's what will get them over the line, I think.
yep. Richmond was on a 17 game winning streak before they lost to St. Joe's in the A10 tournament. And so they've been playing well for a very since basically New Year's Day. For ever since they ever since that Bama game, they've lost twice, which is to Fordham and St. Joseph's. So that's why they came out with only one conference loss because they ran the table pretty hard and with varying quality of games as well. So they speaks to the opponent quality, but nonetheless, yeah, the fact that they're good at limiting free throw opportunities, that's good. For that could make life pretty hard for Tony Morgan if they're good about blocking her as she tries to weave in and out of the paint. Um, I know we have lost to teams that have, especially that Virginia Tech game and the earlier in the year, we've lost to teams that just shot the lights out. And we just didn't have great ways to defend that because we just size is not our advantage on the perimeter, especially. Um, so we'll have to see how that works out. If they have people that can get around, like Ari Termis, who can provide height in the paint, if how that changes the game plan, because might have to see Caleb Blackshear play and kind of be more of a rebounding force, or just be more physical down there. So that will be interesting to see how Mel figures out the matchups here, because we have ways to toy with it and ways to play around with it, but we got to it's got to get it right, and the offense has got to be on. In all likelihood, Cara Dunn probably score like 25 points. Tony will score like 18 with 9 rebounds. Danny will shoot 15 times, make 6 shots, and get to the free throw line a few times. And then you hope someone else in that bunch can find 10 or 15 points and like carry everyone else up.
Yeah. I mean, they're, I think, different from previous years. This team has a lot of players that are willing to go get a result,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like that you can rely on late to sort of even attempt to take over a game. Whereas previous years, I think, especially the last 2 years, they've been a lot more passive. So I think that's what makes the difference, and compared to last year or the year before, where and
Yeah.
especially some of those years where they've just had very tepid eliminations
I think it's
from
yeah.
the tournament.
I think it's worth noting too is that they have a recent trip out west. Like they just did a westward trip. So this won't be the first time this year they have flown a bunch of miles to go west and get ready for a game. Remember last time we were in the NCAA tournament, they went to Stanford and got just beat to crap by Kansas. And I don't think it was a time zone reason or anything like that. They were sliding at that point of the year too. But we've seen the travel be a problem for a lot of teams in the ACC, and this is at least a chance where we're not doing it for the first. This particular group of people are not doing it for the first time. They know how to go through these motions. They know how to do it right. Hopefully, they've learned something. So I think we
Sometimes
can.
there's a benefit to having Stanford and California in the ostensibly Atlantic Coast
Yeah,
Conference, huh?
maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I know. Dang it! Why do we have to have UCLA toast? This is just so annoying. Anyways, at least the game's not at like 11:30 at night.
No,
They
this
didn't
is
do
a
that. They didn't do that to us.
no, this is well, ooh, yeah, all times Eastern. Okay, I had to check
Yep.
that when I pulled
Yep.
this up. It's a 7:30 tip on ESPN News on Friday, March 21st. Like Jack said, UCLA is hosting this first and second round. Who is UCLA playing? They're playing the winner of the first four game between UC San Diego and Southern at 10 p.m. after this game is over.
Okay.
So again, ritual sacrifice
Woohoo.
to the number one team in the country. Jack, why don't we take a quick break? And when we come back, we'll talk stickball. We'll talk all sorts of stickball, both the baseball, the softball, and the tennis varieties back in a tick.
You in fact can look very good and like the best Yellow Jacket fan out there at such a stickball event, notably baseball, with the Drew Burris jersey that you can get at section103.com. There are jerseys for so many guys, including him, Haynes King. I know, but there's a Mark Price one that just got released. There's a Kenny Anderson one that just got released. I think a new hat just got released as well, including a youth size for the hat. So the best Georgia Tech brands out there they just keep making it happen. It's a great time to get whatever you need. There's also always stuff on clearance as well. So if you want to get something a little cheaper, you can do that. And here's the good part. We've got a code for you. If you use the code FTRS, you get 10% off your order. There's free shipping for anything over 80 bucks as well. I don't know if people do Easter presents. My family sometimes did that. This might be a cool thing to wrap up baseball season, get a little hat, whatnot. And historically, if we beat ranked teams, there's a discount the next day. And well, we have UCLA probably coming on the schedule. So who the heck knows what'll happen if we end up winning that game. So be ready. Get ready to go to the games. Section103.com or at section103 on Instagram and Twitter.
Welcome back to Signs of the Southland for the 18th of March. Jack, let's talk about baseball. Let's do a lap at McNeese Baseball Park. A 4-2 victory over Georgia State to start the week, and then a series victory over Pitt in three games. A 10-1 win, an 11-1 win in seven, and then a 12-10 loss on Sunday. The big news of the weekend for me, someone finally got runs off of Mason Patel.
Seriously. Yeah. It took long. I mean, I wish it lasted all year, but yeah, no, it took so freaking long. He's now at a stellar 0.39 ERA in seven appearances, which did we have? I mean, I know we want the best for our guys, but did we truly have an expectation that any of our guys would have a sub one ERA through seven appearances?
No,
Coming out of the
I can
bullpen,
say point blank,
coming out of
no.
the bullpen, yeah. Yeah. Jake mentioned last week that even scary, like this is well past scary Terry territory as well. And Burris finally had a fantastic week. He was a little off a weekend ago, but he had a fantastic week. He was named ACC Player of the Week this week. Patel had been named ACC Pitcher of the Week a couple weeks ago. I think, how did Burris do? Burris hit three homers this week. That seems normal. Scored a run. He had a run, an RBI, and an extra base hit in all four games. He hit 9 for 16 with five doubles, eight RBIs, and a stolen. He had a 2.088 OPS. If your OPS is even approaching two, you've done something right. So that's pretty daggone good. Um, he's got 11 doubles this year now. Lodis has 11 as well. And they both lead the ACC. That's awesome. This is the stuff I think we need to keep seeing against teams like this. Ben King noted in his article for us last week that uh, it is just a lot of keeping the pedal to the metal in games like this because you know you got to win every ACC game you can. We did not sweep Pitt, sadly, this weekend, which I mean, college baseball has variance. That's the best answer I got for that one. Um,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, I
It,
mean, nonetheless, you still put up 10, 11, and 10 runs. Like, you can't be mad about that. And I mean, from that frame of like, you did the things offensively you had to do to absolutely put away those games. Um, Eventually, the arms I mean, it's college baseball. Unless you have a super team, the arms are going to not work every so often because it's pitching. Um, so,
yeah, I mean, it's a stinker on Sunday, which you never really want a stinker to end the series, especially give up 12 runs. But I think overall, these have been pretty good pitching performances and hitting performances, and just got to keep the momentum going into the like every weekend, right? I think Jake's whole bit is that you got to go 2-1 consistently every single weekend,
yeah.
and that will put you well into the tournament field. Um, just got to keep it going.
Yep.
I don't really have anything else to add. Speaking of keeping it going, this week's schedule, excuse me, Wednesday, March 19th, I guess that's tomorrow, a 6 p.m. fixture hosting Gardner Webb. That'll be on ACC Network Extra. And then at the weekend, Tech will go up to South Bend to play Notre Dame. That will also be all on ACC Network Extra.
The big thing we have to mention though about this the second win was that Danny Hall cracked the top 10 of all-time winningest coaches in all of NCAA D1 history. He is now at 1,427 wins, which ties Gustafson. Uh, if we according to our guys at the Tech Communications office, Tech with Danny here, they will replace Texas as the only program with uh in D1 history with two coaches in the top 10. Gustafson was a Texas coach. Danny will leap him this year, and it'll be him and Jim Morris, who has 1,594, which is fifth all time. Both of them will be in the top 10. So, um, I like how I remember I do a lot of research, a lot of tech related research for my day job, and I came across a note that someone had mentioned and something I was reading that for the longest time, the number of football coaches was drastically smaller than the number of Georgia Tech presidents up to a certain year. And this baseball team kind of has that same idea, just like it's the coaches just don't go away. They encapsulate multiple eras of Tech history and Tech time, and it takes stuff like this to. And this is the result of that. You're not going to see guys coach. I mean, college baseball, you see guys coach at schools for a long, long, long time because job security is pretty good there, but uh, it's pretty great. This is the best, also this is the best 19 game start we've had in 12 years at 16-3. So, uh, the as much as we're like, dang it, why did we lose to Pitt? We've only done like this. We are making progress in this domain of not having these really bad early season losses that can come back to haunt us when it comes to tournament time or anything else like that. So. It's good. Also, ACC wins. Their ACC wins.
Yeah, they're and especially without I mean if they had pool play this year, these would all help, but just improve seeding. You're playing for matchup seeding in the single elim tournament now instead of playing for a
Yeah.
different seed in the pool and also that dumb tiebreaker that's now thankfully been eliminated. A sweet, sweet westward expansion. Speaking of westward expansion, softball visited Cal this weekend, right after a 5-4 walk-off win over number 22 Auburn, but they did lose the series to Cal 10-2 in 5 on Friday. That's the first loss. A close 5-4 loss on Saturday, and then an 8-5 victory to salvage, I guess, one game of the series. In Berkeley. My thought on this team is that I don't get it. It doesn't really make sense to me. Um, like this Auburn win is really good, and to be fair,
Yeah.
Cal is
That's
22 and
huge.
5. I didn't actually bother to check if they were ranked or not, so I'm going to do that very quickly.
I mean,
But
either way, these are games, four straight games against not easy opponents. And even if you loop in the Stanford games, like we've played pretty well so far against pretty good teams. We're not facing the Texas or Floridas of the world who are, top five in the country and just play each other all the time because SEC. Uh, but I mean, yeah, this feels that feels like them. I thankfully actually watched the win where Weiler got the grand slam, which was awesome. Like they really just pounded in the runs. They needed to pound in the runs, which was super good. Um, and I mean, Boyle started. Norton had came in that game, so it was kind of the ideal version of the team of just how to get through a game and whatnot. Um, so, yeah. What is this? Oh, okay. Sunday's okay. I'm reading this from the notes. Sunday's 8-5 win was Tech's. That was Tech's first win against Cal in program history for one. We had never beaten. This is the first time we'd gone against them, at least in a series, and it ties the program record for runs scored against the Bears. We played them in 2017 and scored 8. So, uh, weird little, just weird little marks against the team that we're going to probably see a lot going forward. Uh, so that's cool. Ultimately, I think that the progress is there. I mean, 5-4 in ACC play after playing Cal and Stanford, that's pretty good. I will take that.
yeah, contextualizing that, Stanford currently 20th in the D1 baseball poll. Actually, hold on, that's an old poll. Stanford is 17th in the current today, fresh hot off the presses, a D1 softball poll.
Yeah,
Cal is just broken in as the 25th team.
yeah,
So that just gives you an idea of how tough some of those West Coast teams are and how good they are at
yeah,
softball. So yeah, I'm not sure what my confidence level is in this team. I think they do have some good, they have two serviceable pitchers now, right? It's just a
yes.
very
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
weird moment. It's like the thing I have written in our doc is like it's a very weird monkey's paw moment where you're like, I wish we had two serviceable pitchers, and then the hitting gets really inconsistent,
Right.
and it's not great.
So far in ACC, yeah. So far in ACC play, it's mostly been it's Kinsey's been the dominant one so far. She's at a sub 2 ERA while Sophia's at a 4 right now. Granted, Sophia ends up starting more games, and Kinsey will catch the back ends, and I guess pitching changes, whatnot. I don't know. Here's the big thing: Reese Hunter has completely turned her bat around. She was sub 200 to start the year. She's hitting 471 in the 9 ACC games, which is freaking amazing. She had that walk off against or she had a homer against Auburn. Grayson Tucker's doing great. Weiler's doing great. Paige Vukadinovich is up there. Um, so there's batters up there that are doing what they need to do. Only sore spot right now is Grace Connolly, who is starting every game and hitting below 100. But variance happens and whatnot, so not all the way worried there yet. But there are multiple people getting on base pretty regularly, which is really good to see. And Hunter's up there at 526 on base percentage, which that's pretty darn good, especially considering where she came from, how she started. So the progress points are there against good teams, which I like to see. So I think this team overall is finding spots to leap off of to be further successful down the line. And an ACC schedule that we have mentioned is not the hardest we've faced in recent memory. Like this is a get up, even if this team isn't as I think this team should be better next year, considering how many new people are on this team, especially new young people on this team that are playing right now. They have gettable games, but this is a team that going into next year has a lot of things they can be confident about as well. So I'm not all the way worried. So Sydney Watts is also getting plenty of run in the circle as well. She's got a higher ERA as a freshman, but she's going to be the future of this team when it comes to pitching. So getting her out there and throwing is good.
Um, Speaking of what the next couple weeks looks like for Tech, or I guess at least the rest of the week, tomorrow they'll play St. Mary's in Moraga,
Something like
California.
that.
I
Something like
have
that. Yeah.
they're already out west. It's spring break on Tech's campus. I guess this is just an extra, a freebie while
Yay,
they're
baby.
out there to stay match fit. And then at the weekend, they'll fly all the way cross country back over to Pittsburgh. All those games. The St. Mary's game will be on ESPN Plus tomorrow. The Pitt game all three Pitt games, I think, will probably be on ACC Network Extra. Um,
Probably,
there
yeah.
was no network listed, but yeah, I imagine that will be the case. Pitt is usually bad at softball. I don't really know what else there is to say on Pitt. I'm gonna double check my logic on this one in case I get owned by like a Pitt fan on Blue Sky, but I feel fairly confident in saying that Pitt is still bad at softball. So I was right. So by
Okay.
the Diamond Sports rankings, the release yesterday by D1 Softball, Pitt is 141 in the nation. They are 10
All right.
and 16 thus far.
Yep, we gotta win. Gotta get some wins in.
32nd overall strength of schedule, though, so keep that in mind. Or 33rd, excuse me.
Got
Georgia Tech, on the other hand, Georgia Tech, fifth overall strength of schedule.
woohoo. See what I mean?
Uh,
We're doing well for what we're facing. We're doing all right.
41st in DSR. So keep that in mind. Cal, by the way, 23rd in DSR. So again,
Yeah.
playing very, very good competition. Let's talk tennis. Let's head over to tennis. Let's start with the men. Two fixtures this past week, one versus Duke and one versus UNC. A 4-1 loss to Duke and a 4-0 sweep of UNC. Let's start with the UNC one first. This one was weird to me because on paper I expect UNC to be good at these country club sports, and this is a UNC men's tennis team that is worse. than Tech at this. They're ranked 53rd in the ITA poll, while Tech is 52nd. So that is
Yeah,
really, really strange.
I know it's nice to get one this cleanly against a UNC team in a non-football in any sport. I mean, this is I love seeing this. Yeah, if this Tech team is good enough to beat teams that are well behind them, and I mean UNC is about 10, 15 spots behind them. So yeah, I'm not wasn't worried about it. And they got it done. Um, they did have to go to all three matches for doubles, which is like okay, but they got it done there. And then Benetto got his win in on court one. Brancatelli, did Brancatelli win? Oh yeah, Benetto won, Clement won, Carlini won. So easy enough. Clement finishing off in a second set tiebreak at eight. Now we almost had to go longer here because Christophe Clement did go win 8-6 in his tiebreak in the second set to pull it off. So we almost had some extra sets going on here. Uh, but ended up, yeah. I mean, like I like it. They winning games that they need to win. Of course, they played Duke earlier. They did not win that. Duke is still stupid good at tennis. I walked by. I think I mentioned on the podcast. I walked by those tennis courts last summer, and I was like, "Oh, that's where everyone goes to die," because no one beats Duke in tennis. Uh, but no, I mean, they're this men's tennis team has generally been winning the games they need to win or matches, and the ones that are rough, they're having a rough time. But that's fine. That's kind of been the trend. That's been how this team has worked for a long time, and it's a very individual sport. So, when you get a stacked team like Duke, makes it hard. I mean, they got what the number 35 team, the number 35 singles player in the country, and he just wiped Bonetto out. So, yeah,
And number 24 doubles pairing. No, number 24 doubles pairing for Tech. Sorry. But Tech or Duke has the number 71 doubles pairing. And I mean, they're just 11 in the country. They have the number 30 doubles pairing actually as well. So, I mean, they have a little bit more depth. I think that accounts for a lot of the difference there as well. Um, but I mean, out of the recent years of men's tennis, this is shaping up to be a pretty decent one. I like
yeah.
it's hard to complain about some of these results.
Uh, yeah, I think they're good. This is what we need to see. We got Miami and Florida State next on the road, who I don't. Isn't Florida State usually half all right?
I think both of those teams are usually pretty decent. Let me pull up the ITA rankings very quickly because I did not write that down when I prepared for this episode beforehand because I am great at podcast preparation, of course. Do great audio. I'm sure I'll have fun cutting this out later. Let's do a Command F for Miami. Miami is 34th, so that'll be a good test, strength on strength. And Florida State is 37th. So two really good tests this
All right,
weekend, strength
I
on
like it.
strength, right around where Tech is. Tech is down in 38th, so I have to update that on our
Got
sheet here. Or is up to 38th, excuse me. They were 42nd, and then they're up to
yep.
38th. Let's flip over to talk about the women. And I am going to not get caught flat-footed and pull up their rankings in the background here.
Well, they
Georgia
had the week
Tech.
off. They had the week off coming into this week and had a Monday match, a Monday morning match against Old Dominion at home. Which, okay, sure, uh,
Match fitness, I guess.
do
That's
it
the only thing that I can think of.
if they want
Just
to do
gotta
it. They can do
stay,
it. So, but yeah, we
gotta
wiped,
stay warm.
beat them pretty easily. We were up in all three doubles matches before the Bilchevs, Nicholson and Cruz Roach teams both won 6-2. In singles, Nicholson, Cruz, and everyone was up. Like this was a, we were plenty good here, so not a worry here. Uh, Easy 4-0 win. What you just take care of business kind of game. Kind of I say game. Tennis is matches. Tennis has matches. The games are within the matches when you play tennis. The full concept is a match. It's not a game.
I don't even have a joke for that. I've
Anyway,
made this. It's not a game. It's a match, like AI joke in there.
I'm
Uh,
sure. I'm sure there's something. Yeah,
sure.
no,
If I
you
was
could.
if I was a little bit more caffeinated, I think I would have gotten on the draw for that.
There's plenty of confusion to give plenty of people about how to talk about tennis. They got Syracuse and Boston College next. Should win. The Cuse is here on Friday at 4 o'clock, and then Sunday Boston College is here at 11:30 a.m. This says YouTube. These matches are on YouTube.
Well, yeah, they stream the courts all on YouTube when they do the live streams.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
usually find those somewhere else. Okay, it's good to know that those are there as well.
Boston College is not within the top 75 of the ITA rankings, but Q's, I just had Q's.
That
Q's
checks
is
out.
67.
Okay. Yeah,
So
they
not
should win
strength
these
on
hand.
strength,
Yeah,
but
they should win these handedly. That this is they yeah, take care of business. Don't lose these. Don't make your potential seeding get weird for NCAA time.
don't even trip is what I would say
No.
if I was a rapper. Don't even trip. Let's talk swim and dive. I think this is the
Yes.
last one on our shot sheet, last major competition on our shot sheet, and it's a big one. The next 2 weekends are NCAA championships, all prelims and finals on ESPN Plus. We'll start with the women, of which there is only one qualifier. Anna Bradescu is appearing in her fifth NCAA championships in the platform.
Well,
And then the men
we made a
have,
big deal. Well, you were here the last 2 weeks. We made a big deal about Max Fowler has to get this team in. Like this was the last beat me and Jake left on this because we didn't know what the hell was going to happen here, and then we didn't know who was even going to be on the team once everyone got in. And Max and Anna both got it done. So our dive team is so far the if we had a clutch player award for the entire institute right now, it'd go to the two of them right now.
hey, Max Fowler's very good at diving. Look, second NCAA championships appearance. He'll be in the 1 meter and 3 meter dives. That'll be on the 26th and 29th of March, or through the 29th of March, excuse me. But there are also three other men that qualified with A cuts. So you're talking about Mert Kilovus, senior. That'll be his fourth appearance in the mile free. Berkeley, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast over the last 5 years. This will be his fifth appearance at the 200 IM and the 200 backstroke. Uros Zivanovic is a freshman. This will be his first appearance, obviously, in the 100 breast. We talked about Max Fallow already. And also, Tech qualifying in the 200 medley relay with an A cut means they get all of their relays in, and you also
Hmm.
get a bunch of relay alternates. So, Robin Yeboah, a sophomore, Leandro Otorici, senior, Antonio Romero, senior, and then David Gopinski, also a senior. All four of them are available as relay alternates for the 200 meter relay, the 200 free relay, the 400 free relay, and the 400 medley relay. So honestly, like pretty good
Yeah,
showing, all considered. This is probably, I think, since the Caio Pampudis year, this is probably the biggest team that Tech has sent to NCAAs.
it's big just because we factory qualified a relay. I mean, of note, like we still had to have like the big deal with all this is we still had to have an individual qualifier to get that relay in. We couldn't just show up with a relay team. That's why Max and Anna were so important to this. But yeah, once you have a relay in, you got them all. So the A cuts in that 200 medley, that's the one they're gonna go for. Like there's no like the other ones they weren't getting the cuts. So this will be the one if we're gonna like of the three things we have a shot at being competitive in. It's Max Fowler. It's Anna. Maybe Anna hasn't historically been close to the podium in the NCAA competition, but it's her fifth year. Who knows at this point? And then that relay. That relay. I mean, we have to face the titans of swimming, college swimming. So I don't think they'll actually reach a podium. But could they make a B final at least? I think they. It'd be progress. It'd be progress for this team if they made the B
Look,
final.
it's all gravy, right? A lot of these are seniors, like Kilavuz, Saka, and then three of the four relay alternates, all seniors. It's all gravy.
Yeah, no, I think
Um,
that's cool for David and Erdrich and Romero that they get to have this moment and do one more one last I guess
one
one
last
last ride.
ride.
One last ride into Northwest Washington. I cannot wait
Yeah,
to be
these
watching
are
these races at noon 30 at night kind of stuff.
yes, noon 30 at night because that's a thing, Jack.
Yes, yes.
Noon 30 at
I
night.
speak
Yeah,
English.
so of course, of course. All the NCAA championships again, are all at Federal Way, Washington. They're all on ESPN Plus, so prelims, finals, everything ESPN Plus. There'll probably be a TV window, I bet, but I'm not super clear. But yeah, just in terms of schedule, women are this weekend, the 19th through the 22nd, and the men are next weekend, the 26th through the 29th. Let's talk some miscellaneous. I think that this is about it for the major updates.
Hmm.
Rattling off a couple of minor updates. Golf is at the Palma Valley Invitational in Palma, California. I haven't seen an update from them just yet. on placement, but if I remember correctly, they're number 22 in the coaches poll. So we'll see what that competition looks like when we recap it next week. Club lacrosse, we had an update on them last week. They are 9-3 overall, 3-0 in conference. They last played on the 14th. That was an 18-5 victory over Central Florida. They'll next be in action on the 29th after spring break. They'll be down in Florida at Florida. The big one, club hockey, is at AAU Nationals in the second division. That is this week through the 18th through the 25th. All games will be on YouTube at AAU College Hockey Nationals. A little bit of a weird one here because the pools, like the pools that I saw in the schedules and the graphics didn't really agree. So clearly some team dropped out and they had to do a full shuffling of the deck sometime last night and they hadn't gotten everything updated. But last I saw the schedules, they're actually Georgia Tech is in action right now, I think,
They're
versus
about
High
yeah.
Point. That match puck drop was at 5:15. Tomorrow, they'll be in action at 8 a.m. because that's what you want to do on
Don't we
spring
love
break
it?
is be up at 8 a.m. to play Penn State Harrisburg. And then on Thursday, March 20th, they'll face off against Miami at 11 a.m. The Thursday game is marked TBD, so it probably depends on how this match and tomorrow's match go in terms of where they'll be in the knockout rounds.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jack? Anything else from the wide world of Georgia Tech sports that you want to talk about?
I did check the golf. They're kind of done at this point. Actually, down there at that tournament, they finished plus 11, which is a 10th place showing out of 15 teams, with the usual absolute titans of golf. Illinois is there, Texas there, LSU's there, Tennessee's there, Texas Tech and whatnot. At least in round three, Carson Kim had a great performance with a 1 under round. Hansen, Fontenot, and Ben Reuter were also scoring for us. Hiroshi Tai was not in the scoring for us. He fell out of it, which is sucks to see. Aiden Tran played as an independent, or is playing as an independent. So I mean, we lost to a lot of basically every team we lost to is the top 10 of the country. So that happens. This is not the full strength year that we've had in the last few years. Of course, Hiroshi Tai got the individual national championship last year. Um, but I mean, we're hanging. We're not all the way out of it. We were 37 strokes behind the leader. LSU just destroyed everybody. They were net minus 28, and Texas is 17 under. And this basically is turn is basically over. So that little different there. But anyways, Survivor's still happening. The college hockey graduate from Tech, Eva Erickson, is still on the show. She is still alive. I don't want to put too many spoilers out there. The general idea here is that there is a change. This episode has a change coming that will potentially affect how her outlook in the game looks and whatnot. So this could be a big week for her. So we'll see how it goes down. But so far we're so good on our tech people on Survivor. No voting outs yet. Um, that's best we can pay for. Best we can pray for. I'll have my usual recap on her. I did not have one last week because I was out of town, but I will have my usual weekly recap on her gameplay this week on the website.
Last couple of notes as I scroll the ramblinwreck.com website just before we hit stop on this recording. 404 weekend food drive will be at baseball and softball on March 30th and April 4th. So donate cans and non-perishables at both of those. Drew Burris is the ACC Baseball Player of the Week with a 2.0 OPS this past week, which is crazy. I think that is about it. Everything else is photos on here. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how the NIT goes. Maybe we'll record a post gamer after this, and you'll hear that before this episode.
Would be crazy. Would be crazy.
We've done it before. We've done
Hey, I
it
wouldn't mind
before.
if it requires it. It'd be good. Anyways, you can find this podcast wherever you find podcasts: Spotify, Apple's, YouTube. YouTube tends to be an easy spot to find it. We'll post on the website as well, which is from therumbleseat.com. Robert Pence is gonna have stuff on the men's basketball this week. I've got Survivor stuff. Me and Maggie Doster will have women's basketball stuff at the end of this weekend after the ladies play out in California. You can find us on Twitter and Blue Sky or Facebook at FTRS blog or just at from the Rumble Seat. Jake is at Jake Grant 98. I am at Jack Nicholas. You can find Section 103 at Section 103 on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, or section103.com, and use code FTRS. We might be back. We might not be tonight. We'll find out. Either way, we'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.